Good morning. Call the meeting to order. Any items from the public? If there are not any, how about the approval of the agenda? We have a modification first, but go ahead.
We do have a modification.
Yeah, we have a removal of the 10:15 a.m. Michelle Walls, Executive Director. She won't be here.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented, as amended for November 2nd, 2023.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Purchase order log. Any questions for Tracy back there?
What was the, I can't even bring it up. Equipment to clean up Sportsman's Paradise or something?
We tore down a house and a garage and several other things that you own on your property. Instead of contracting it out, we did it ourselves.
Well, good for you, us.
You see facilities, Mickey or anybody, let them know.
They love tear stuff down, don't
That's
they?
right.
They did a good job.
And fractional is the cost of what we could have had
Yeah.
done outside.
Yeah,
All right. Any other questions?
that was
That
mine.
was it. All righty. And no internal budget revisions, but we have change in status. Request has been received from the assessor to increase the salaries of all full-time employees in the account 406 and 407 by $1,000 annually, in addition to all part-time employees by $1 per hour, effective November the 1st, 2023. Assessor has advised that he is not requesting any additional funding from the county commission.
Yeah, that's good for this year. What about next year?
He, Mr. Hess moved employees from his 406, he moved an employee from his 406 account to his 407 account, which is valuation fund, which freed up enough funds to make the change in General County. Funding wise, he's fine. It won't affect him. He's okay. That's how he made it happen.
For next year too? Because,
It's
once the employee's gone, that's it.
That's it.
The only problem I had with it was the part-time employees, they limited to like 19 hours.
They are by federal.
So in a sense, when you do that and you give them $1 an hour, and you only give the other full-time 1,000, really they're getting twice as much of the part-time getting twice as much as the full-time, and that just doesn't seem right to me.
Proportional, correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to ask Larry about that, but he's not here today.
Yes. We haven't, okay, is that all? Anything else? New hire recommendation received from Will Lawrenson, fiduciary supervisor for Kristen Green, fiduciary coordinator with the annual salary of $43,135, effective November the 27th, 2023. Change in status received from Jennifer Swisher, 911 director for Cynthia Bell, and Delaney Lyson. They are going from telecommunicator 2 to senior telecommunicators. Their salary will go from $54,443 to $57,166, and that's effective November the 16th, 2023. Change in status received from Tim Zaya, Community Corrections Director, for the following, effective November the 1st, 2023. Julie McDaniel is going from Case Manager to Therapist 1, with the salary increase from $50,676 to $60,000. And Danielle Goldeisen is going from Peer Recovery Coach to DRC Case Manager with a salary increase of $43,135 to $50,676. And we have the approval of the minutes, the meeting, and everyone was present, so they can stay. Commission calendar. We are here today on Thursday, the 2nd. Chilly day today. And we'll be here, let's see, nothing coming up on that. Morning commission calendars. Today or tonight is 5 p.m. Ambulance Authority. And then we have, that was good. Did you see what I did, Eddie? Sorry about that. Yeah, we got Monday the 6th at 9:30 a.m. Home Consortium, 6 p.m. Planning Commission. On the 7th, it's 5 p.m. Sewer District and 6 p.m. Stormwater District, Stormwater. On the Wednesday the 8th at 9:30 Development Authority, and at 6:30 p.m. Roundhouse Authority. And on Thursday is at 6:30, the fire board on the 9th. And the offices will be closed on observation of Veterans Day. Anything to that to change? All good there. Let's see, order to open Fund 040 opioid settlement fund with the United Bank. Is that good to go there, Gary?
Yes, you have two orders to create two new funds, the opioid settlement money as well as the next fund, which is Fund 41 for the County Fire Protection Fund. That's all driven by the auditor's office, so we just need to execute. So when that money starts to come in, it can get placed in the right accounts.
Right, yes.
Any clue when the money will start coming in from the opioid settlement?
I think sooner than it used to be. We saw
Yeah, I think so.
saw a proposed, what's that?
That was the final order of the game. I believe that that's litigation came.
Whole story is no, we don't know. But
There was a hot topic up at the CCA meeting this past weekend, I'm sure you saw.
Was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
everybody wants their money.
Yeah.
And what's it, yesterday?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
And then I guess, Gary, if, once they do the other 3 million, there'll be another account for that.
for the opioid settlement, or you talking about the other money?
The opioid settlement, but then the one account's for the money coming out, the 3 million for the fire.
That's right.
And then there's another 3 million that's gonna be distributed once they.
I guess it'll go in that same fund.
You think so?
I would believe so. It all has the same strings attached.
Okay. Any other discussion on that?
And we haven't gotten any indication what our amount's gonna be yet over that.
We have a bond release at Hickory Run, Section 2, Phases A and B, Berkeley BCP file number 100-03, tied to BCP file 2011-347. And that comes from the recommendation of the engineering department. Any questions for Doug on that? Okay, if there isn't, I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Correction of assessment log, there's nothing here today. Board and meeting reports. I would say Mr. Boyd, but Mr. Boyd's a little bit thin today. How about you, Mr. Barnhart?
Well, I'm a little thin too. I had no meetings scheduled. The Telemon meeting wasn't held this week, so I don't know when it'll be held. But I would like to note the passing of Wayne Dunham,
Yes.
former county commissioner, proud graduate of Hedgesville High School, went to school with my brother, and all around good guy. Very dedicated. He was a member of the Public Water District Board of Directors and served very well in that capacity. And
He was a great public servant.
yeah, and I don't know about anybody else, but I will miss him. He was a good friend.
He always had kind words, and like you said earlier today, that if you would,
Oh, if you look up in the dictionary under nice guys, it'd be a picture of Wayne.
Wayne Dunn. Wow. Anything else?
That's all I got.
Mr. Catlin?
Yeah, I want to say the same thing. Wayne was a good friend of mine, and so my heartfelt sympathy to the Dunham family, to the Hedges family. His wife died, Vicky, within a few hours of Wayne, and it's just a tragic story. The Hedges family I've known for a long time as well, and but like I say, Wayne was a commissioner, and he served on our water board, and he was one of the finest human beings I've ever known. So,
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful folks.
yeah. Also, I spent Sunday evening with Gary and Eddie at the Cape State Park for the County Commission Association of West Virginia legislative agenda meetings. It was a board meeting with the membership invited. I guess the highlights of the thing for me was we got the 1% sales tax as listed as one of the priorities for the legislative session for the association. And so I thought that was wonderful. They have a list of about 7 or 8 other items that they're going to present. And hopefully they'll have 2 days at the Capitol this year during the session. And hopefully, it'll be at a time when I can be there with, as a member of the board now, to be there to help legislate, help the, our legislative agenda with the association. The other highlight to me, Sunday evening after our business meeting, we had a great meal. First of all, they always feed you good, but they invited our local legislators from this area, and John Hardy was supposed to be there and did not attend. Tricia Rucker was supposed to be there and didn't attend, but Don Forsh and Chuck Hirsch did, as two of our Berkeley County legislators in the House. And Eddie and I talked to both of them 2-on-1 before the meal pretty heavily, and we think we made some headway with them in terms of supporting the sales tax, we hope. So that was certainly another highlight of that trip. And then the next day on Monday, it was all meetings, but we were asked, and so I was asked to present information about our ambulance fees, about our fire fees, and I gave a presentation that lasted 15-20 minutes, had a lot of questions about it, had a lot of people after that talk about it, and just we talked about all the issues in the state. I talked about our out-of-state tag thing and trying to go after those folks, and a lot of people were interested in that and wanting to find out more about that, and it's just a really good thing to bond with these people. Even though we're so different, we have a lot in common, and I thought it was a valuable time to be there those 2 days. So as you mentioned, Jim, I do have a ambulance authority meeting this evening at 5. It was scheduled last week, but they moved it to this tonight. So thank you.
Eddie?
Yes, sir. I attended Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening with the County Commission Association in Capeman, but yesterday at the Dunn Building meeting, which hopefully today the second floor bathroom will be ready, or today or tomorrow. Hopefully it will be ready, and then they'll start downstairs on the first floor restroom. They're still actually today they're demoing the old IT facility off the side there, and the county clerk's office, which ran into some issues there. They got 3 different layers of flooring, but they're working that out. So all that demo is going on the day report facility. They're digging the footers. Of course, they're running some rock up on that other end, and the pad site is getting near completion. They're getting good compaction and all that. So that's going well. Met with the assessor's office and the chief deputy yesterday on the out-of-state tags. So far, they made contact with 2,703 folks in reference to getting their out-of-state tags switched over. So that's going along pretty well, and everybody has everything they need. Gary's taking care of their IT requests and stuff like that. So it's on the move.
Good. I didn't have any meetings, but I had a couple phone calls regarding the traffic issue on Route 11 there at the Pikeside School for the cars of I guess the parents are picking up and dropping off their students there.
A bad situation.
It's a very bad situation.
And Jim, there's other places in the county it's just as bad.
Spring-
Hensville Elementary School,
Potomac
Route 9,
Elementary,
Spring
yeah.
Mills down there.
It gets really busy when you have traffic coming in out of the air guard, and sometimes the truck can't make it in there. They're bringing fuel in because of the cars that are lined up there. So I don't have a good answer for them other than wrap around the building somewhat better. I don't know, but
Senator Blair promised me this week and told me that he's trying to get some funding to get some traffic control added on Route 9 West during the school hours and stuff. So hopefully that'll come to fruition, but it's certainly needed. Other thing I forgot to mention, I did have a wonderful conversation on the phone with Roberta Waters this week, about a half hour, the lady that owns the falls down in,
okay.
and it went really well, and she's not ready to sell yet, but
Well, as long as she has us in mind, that's,
I asked her to give us right of first refusal, please, and she thought that wouldn't be a problem. And so, but we had a wonderful conversation. Hopefully, at some point.
Can it be
things will-
extended?
Yeah, and we spoke to the superintendent a couple of weeks ago, and I mentioned that issue on the traffic there on Route 11. It's dangerous.
Yeah, especially when you get 3 cars wide on a 2-lane highway, that's for sure. And that's all that I had. Eddie, you have a honorary council person here.
Okay.
Jackson Gunther?
Yes.
Did I pronounce that right? Sometimes I have trouble here.
It's the eating.
Okay, Jackson, want to stand up? Raise your right hand. I, Jackson Gunther,
I, Jackson,
do swear or affirm
do swear to
that I will uphold the Constitution
that I will
of the United States
uphold the United States
and the state of West Virginia,
and the state of Washington,
that I will work hard to fulfill
that I will commit to fulfill
the responsibilities of the
the
office
responsibilities of the office
of honorary commissioner
of honorary commissioner
to which I have been appointed.
to which I have been,
So help me God.
so help me.
Congratulations.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. So, hi, I'm Jackson Gunther, and I go to St. Joseph School. Today is my birthday. I'm turning 14 years old, and
what do you want to do?
I want to be a pro football player.
There we go.
All right.
Yeah.
What's your position?
Doesn't matter.
Oh, okay. As long as you get the contract, I understand.
Well, I tell you what, we've had some good ones come out of here in the more recent times, so I
Probably Jefferson.
okay. We'll get you going here somehow. So thanks, and like I told you earlier, if you have any questions or comments, just nudge Penny and she'll throw something at me and get my attention, or you can throw something at me either one. So make it a football if you do anything. How about that? Thanks for coming in.
Oh, James Jett came out of Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Yeah.
We're all West Virginians.
Yep.
Yep.
That's right. We don't have any reappointments or anything like that. We have a bid opening at 10 o'clock. How about, Will, we're gonna take you next until we get to 10 o'clock. You shouldn't be any more than 10 minutes, if that's all right.
He better not be any more than 10 minutes.
I'm on the clock.
Yeah.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Today we have the same 22 estates as presented in your read-ahead for interim or final settlement in Berkeley County for the month of November 2023. All estates, as I say, are identical to those found in your read-ahead, and all but one estate is submitting their final settlement. The estate of Paul S. Clohan Jr. is submitting an interim settlement of accounts indicating a partial disbursement of probate assets to the heirs, but a desire that the estate remain open for further probate affairs to be handled. Additionally, all estates proposed here this morning have been distributed, and all interested parties have seen legal or actual notice as required by West Virginia law. To date, no objection from any said interested party have been received in writing by my office. Lastly, all creditor claims involved in these proposed estates have been dealt with, either via release being filed by the creditors themselves, indicating a partial or full reimbursement, or a declaration of insolvency from the estate, meaning an insufficient amount of probate assets to pay creditors, beneficiaries, or heirs alike. Without objection from any interested party present here this morning, I ask for this Commission's consideration of approval for the 22 estates for interim or final settlement in the month of November 2023.
Okay, you've heard the ask. Does anybody have any questions, or can I have a motion to approve?
Mr. President, I
22.
move to approve the settlement list of 22 estates as presented on November 2nd.
Okay, have a motion to have a second.
second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Like sign opposed, motion carries. 10 minutes. Beat that one, didn't we?
We could have had you read off the name.
That is one of my finest hours as fiduciary supervisor, having to stop doing that. Thank you.
All righty. And no estate hearings to be scheduled, right?
No, that's correct. That's all I have.
All righty. Gary, you want to kind of give us a brief or synopsis of the bid opening here for the firefighter turnout gear?
If I could dance for 5 minutes on it, you want to do the state budget revision, want to jump down to it?
Oh, yeah.
And then this?
Okay, we'll do that.
Okay. So state budget revision for General County Fund One, number 4. We have that $207,599 that we have received that need to be distributed. The distribution is as follows. $4,346 to the county clerk's office. That's reimbursement for the records management grant. Account 403, the circuit clerk's office, $6,748. Also reimbursement for the records management grant. Account 404, the sheriff's tax office, $6,979. Those are administrative fees charged to the estate process that they most recently started to adopt. So the sheriff charged it, and that really goes back into the tax office. $18,996 to 428, which is IT for services billed. $68,115 to account 699, which is contingencies. Those are just miscellaneous receipts that we've had to put into contingency and try to build it back up. Remember, we reduced it early in the process. Central Garage, account 717, $13,152. Those are risk pool reimbursements for minus the deductibles for incidences we've had most recently in vehicles. I think there are 3 of them. And then lastly, 960, which is our capital account we use for vehicle purchases, $78,124. We had 3 total losses. One was a risk pool reimbursement. The other, 2 were risk pool. One was but not our insurance.
Progressive or something.
All total $207,599. That's $78,124 into the 960 account. As soon as we get notice of release and the availability to get in line for 2024 or 25s, we'll be near asking to at least put those 3 on order, and maybe we'll see in 2026. Who knows? So again, $207,599 distributed as presented.
Okay. I have a motion to approve the budget revision, Fund 04-001.
So moved.
Have a motion to have a second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. All righty.
So for your bid opening, sir, this is a bid opening for turnout gear for your firefighters. It has been duly advertised locally. It was placed on the website and sent to any vendor that we knew may have been interested. You have 1 response. They are budgeted. This is part of the budget that was asked for last year. So this request, as they knew it was coming, you approved it in the last cycle. So hopefully it comes in budget and you can move forward after review.
Okay. Bid titles firefighter turnout gear. This is Atlantic Emergency Solutions. Including equipment and delivery per specifications. Total amount. Does that look right, Eddie?
Should be right in front.
It is, yeah, $3,935.26. Freight extensions, $95. Okay, give that to the fire board
Down there.
and have them go review it.
Maybe that-
All righty, thank you very much.
Eddie, it'll go to Randy, Lily.
Randy. Oh, I'm sorry, Landy. Okay. All righty, Tim not quite here yet. Tim? Oh, there he is. I'm sorry, Tim. Come on up. If you got time here, we'll run a little bit ahead of time if you want. take a break here shortly. It's DUI safety and treatment program and staffing.
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning. How many of y'all know this, but you get a DUI, the state requires that you go through the DUI safety and treatment program that they sort of manage and requirements placed upon. There are a few that are available in Berkeley County. I've been one for a couple of years to become a licensed site, but that sort of took a back burner for a while because of other things going on. Becoming the LBHC was the big one, but now that that's behind us, I applied several months ago. And have you ever gone to the DMV office here? Kind of seen how that business is run. It's extraordinarily inefficient, right? The state office is no different. So it took a long time for them to respond to my application, but we finally received approval. The Berkeley Day Report Center is now an approved DUI safety and treatment program.
You say there's several of those in the county, or
Yep.
so do you have a choice to which one you go to, or how does it work?
Yes. Yep. Whenever you're convicted of a DUI, one of the steps you have to take in order to get your license back is to finish a program. Doesn't matter where you go, you just have to go to one. Most of the people that get DUIs in Berkeley County are required to attend the DRC for treatment and supervision. They also have to go through a safety and treatment program. So that group of people are having to go to two different places for different purposes. Now they'll be able to accomplish all that in one place, which is going to be far more convenient for them. So in order to efficiently run the program, I need a person. I need a therapist. So I'm here to share with you that we're now an approved site. We'd like to get the program going. I need a therapist to operate it. To give you an idea of what the sort of costs involved, the state requires, so there's three different courses that a person may have to go through: level 1, level 2, and level 3. Depending on if they're a first-time DUI offender and they blow below a certain limit, they're a level 1 offender. It requires them to go through 18 hours of DUI instruction. The state requires that any safety and treatment site charges each person $400. I think they require that so that providers can't compete with one another. It's just the same across the board. My understanding is that the other providers in the area charge the $400, plus they add some fees on top of that for required to provide at least one drug screen. And there's an assessment that a person has to go through, and some of the providers charge a fee for that. My plan isn't to do that. I'd like to keep this as simple. These people have a bunch of fines and costs that are associated with the DUI already that they have to pay in order to get their license back. I don't want it to be a final burden for them, but we're required to charge at least $400. So for level 1, 18 hours of instruction, each person has to pay $400. A full class, technically there's no limit on it, but we found that no more than 12 people in the class is appropriate. So if the class is full, we're talking about bringing $4,800 in roughly a month. That could be faster depending on how we structure the course. We could offer it 5 days a week, and a person could accomplish the class very quickly. I think the other providers around here generally do 3 to 5 hours a week, stretched out a little bit. So anyways, if we structured the class to be completed in a month, I suspect we would generate about $400. A therapist would be doing some work in addition to this course. For instance, I think an average would be probably meeting with 10 participants a week for individual therapy. I won't go through all the numbers. The therapist will generate just shy of $10,000 a month of income, fees, and then the individual therapy Medicaid billing that we do. Our cost for a therapist is an average of $5,800 a month. That's kind of middle of the road. Therapist's salary can be from $65,000 to $76,000, depending on their education and experience and their licensure status and such. So I believe, not immediately, but once the caseload is close to full, this is going to be at no cost to the commission. Position likely generate a bit of revenue. Level 2 and level 3 adds the number of hours of instruction that they're required, and the state does allow us to bill insurance for level 2 and level 3 instruction, which we so for level 2, you can add about $2,000 a month of revenue that we would generate from insurance billing. Level 3 adds about $2,000 more. So once we're established and the magistrates and the judges and the attorneys know that this is an option for most offenders, and the offenders become aware that they can do this at the DRC and not have to go to 2 different locations, I suspect the program is going to fill up pretty quickly. So, I mean, this position alone could generate about $14,000 a month, and again, it would cost the county about $5,800 depending on the person.
How much paperwork is involved with this program to the state? Is there a lot or minimal?
It's fairly minimal. It's done electronically.
The state didn't get a cut out of that 400.
The state takes $175, I think, if I'm remembering that correctly, Steve, out of that 400, and they put that into they take part of it and then put part of it into an indigent fund. If a person gets a DUI and they're eligible for indigent status and there's a form that they can submit, then the state reimburses us for the $225, I think that would be remaining from the $175 they pay. So even for a person that's indigent, the state would actually pay us directly $225 out of that indigent fund. So yeah, they do take a portion of it. I factored that into my math.
You did?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just didn't go through all the math.
You'd still come up with that amount of funding revenue,
Yeah.
even if they're cut.
Do you have the space to do this?
I have a lot of experience, Eddie, in getting creative with space. I've had to do this before, and I have a plan.
Okay.
Yep.
Any additional support staff needed?
A
Support that?
small amount of case management, which I have the staff to accomplish. Yeah. I'm just asking for a therapist to be able to, and my plan isn't to hire one immediately. I want to give a little time to see how quickly the people start to come in. As soon as, if it happens quickly, I'll jump on that quickly. If it takes a couple of months for the program to grow, I'll pull the trigger on that when the time is right. I just wanted to ask for the permission from you all to do that.
You know, Mr. President, if I may, if my predecessor was here, he'd want to elaborate this as Mr. Zai continued to build his empire, but leave it alone. But truly, this is the county commission continuing and growing on its ability to rehabilitate instead of incarcerate, and just offer one-stop solution for anybody that has to visit or is necessarily ordered to visit community corrections. So
Right.
Tim came and said, hey, we've got an opportunity. In his fashion, it's 100%. He doesn't mess around. He's presenting a complete solution, and even offering that not to immediately staff, but to get started, get his hands around it. We just really needed the blessing of the commission before we really took the first step, because if it takes the first step and then realizes he needs staffing, we didn't want to come in then and say, hey, we did this and now we can't do it. Can we have this? So it's just trying to be upfront.
Right.
And it's just for the greater good of the community.
Anybody else have any questions, comments?
I mean, once you do it, and if for some reason it's not working, then you can not do it correctly.
Oh, sure.
There's no time you have to lock in.
No.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it will be successful.
It will.
Yeah.
It will. There's a lot of people that get DUIs in our county regularly.
Sad but true. Alrighty, do I have a motion to,
I would make that motion, Jim, that we approve Tim's request and move forward with this particular DUI program
treatment program and staffing?
and staff.
Staffing. Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
So this will be put out on the search for you don't have anybody in mind or anything. This is
Well, we just did a recruitment for therapists. depending on how much time goes by, I probably have a plan in place already, but that won't necessarily be the case in a
Yeah.
couple of months.
Yeah.
That's when we're ready to go.
Okay.
If we do need to do another recruitment, we will. That's simple. It's putting the position on Indeed and Facebook. And
There they are.
I don't know how many therapists are out there, so.
there's not a ton. That's not a position that's easy to fill when we need to fill them.
Is this program already set that you just adopt, or you come up with an entirely?
No, the state has its own curriculum that they want the sites to use. Level 2 and level 3 will be curriculum that our staff actually create, which we've already got material available for that purpose. We would just pull from some of our intensive outpatient curriculum.
Okay. Any further discussion? Call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries, sir.
Thank you all very much.
All right, we're going to take a break here until yeah, almost 10:45. How's that? All right. We're going to get you a picture. All right, we're back in session, and next on the agenda is Matt Umstead, Director of Policies and Strategic Planning, about our county flag.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just a little background on this project proposal. Commission President, it was his idea. It was his proposal idea to
It wasn't all
possibly
mine.
work on this. And so the committee, the steering committee of the 250th proceeded to work on this idea. And I'm not going to lay it at his feet entirely. There were some other folks who mentioned it, but anyway, just briefly draw your attention to the American flag for starters, and just like you to take a look over there and just imagine the fabric and touching it. That kind of helps you keep that in the back of your mind as fabric. It kind of helps you visualize how the color schemes will actually maybe translate to cloth. So, according to the custom and tradition of the American flag, blue stands for vigilance, perseverance, and justice. White is purity and innocence. Red is hardiness and valor, or courage. So those are your symbolic histories of your colors. Yellow and gold most often represent the sun, also used to signify wealth and prosperity, but we know here in West Virginia, gold stands for almost heaven. So with that in mind, the initiative of the committee, working with James Rumsey, the graphic design students at James Rumsey were contacted through their advisor and invited to submit designs. The committee, which was about 25 people, various people, including, I don't want to highlight anyone, but a number of people you all know who serve in various roles, the Development Authority Executive Director, the Airport Executive Director, and several other people in leadership positions here with agencies of the county and the community served on that committee. And they narrowed down the design to a very simple design that kind of combines the idea of symbolism of the federal national flag with a touch of the local county representation of the county and some of the symbols that would represent the local community here. So there was a vote. Some people were on the county staff were also asked to chime in on what their opinions were, which they did. And the majority, it was a split vote. It was not a unanimous consensus of the committee. But the majority of the folks got behind the blue stripe, yellow or gold stars, and the blue. I'm looking at a black and white version here, but the very first option there on your read ahead. Second was an option that was more red in nature, and then a third was a kind of a combination. I don't like to really put my opinion out there, but personally I like the third one. But I did not want to push the committee one direction or another, and I think they were more inclined to be choosing a combination of color that was kind of associated with West Virginia and the gold and blue. So that, in short, became the majority of the committee's feeling about it. You know, obviously, if you all don't feel good about any of these designs, we could start all over and try something new. Explore other designs, modify possibly one of these designs further if you'd like. It's really up to you at this point what you want to do.
Well, I agree. It needs to be simple because, you know, it's fluttering in the breeze and, you know, it's got to stand out. I totally agree with that. I'm just wondering, not so much about the design. There are other places we could do this. There's symbolism, you know, coins or, you know, some of that stuff. It would be an opportunity, you know, really to develop that.
We did have some coins Yeah, we did have some of those, but we're looking at the flag. Believe it or not, I didn't vote, but I left that up to Matt and them, but a little bit of the red in it kind of caught my eye a little bit different too with number 3. But number 1, the one that was that got the most votes, it's very attractive. I didn't know if anybody had anything they wanted to amend, like it, dislike it, or
I like
remove
the
them.
blue and gold. I mean, that kind of goes with the state colors.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the size of the county on the flag in proportion. To me, it just looks small.
Scale of it, the scale might not be, the adjustment on the scale.
Yes, sir.
Make it a little bit
That's
bigger,
just my,
Right.
That's just my opinion.
We can definitely,
With the blue and gold, I
ask
like.
for
expand it out.
There's too much white on there, I agree.
too much white.
But I like the first one too. Except they need to have a star where Hedgesville's located.
We actually, in all seriousness, we actually explored placing the stars on some of the principal communities in the county. It didn't quite look it didn't resemble a constellation that we really could identify with. That
Steve's
was,
right, you only need one.
oh, that's true. We only do, I'm not gonna, yeah, but you can read through the read ahead, some of the associations. The blue, obviously, for Berkeley County, water. Lots of water here in Berkeley County. Obviously, there's 2 cities or 2 municipalities, one of them being the town of Hedgesville and the city of Martinsburg. And obviously, the 6 stars, the magisterial districts of the county, they are kind of formed as the boundaries, the original historic boundaries of the county being in the middle between Warm Springs Ridge and the north, the Blue Ridge Mountain and Jefferson County. So.
And I
That's
think
just
that
something.
Not only the county could be larger, but the stars could be a little larger too, so that it gets more color in it.
If there's a consensus with the first,
flag
the recommended, what we can do is I can ask them to just do some scale adjustments to finalize that.
And what we can do, if there's consensus there, we'll bring the final in and probably, we can get it to print, not on a flag, but on paper.
Paper.
And
Right.
you could adopt it that day.
Right.
So,
So pending some.
Pending some minor
Final
changes.
scale adjustments, we'll go with a we'll work up a final rendering of this,
one,
of one. If
Of
that's
one.
the consensus.
That sounds good.
Hold off on a vote.
we will.
We'll make that happen.
Okay.
Come on back.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Do
you,
we need a motion for that or just a
Not at all.
consensus?
Not yet,
Okay.
just consensus.
Yeah, well, HD's not here anyway.
That's right.
I
Okay.
want him to be involved in it.
All righty. Next up, we have Mr. Gilliam's Supervisor Voters Registration Changes for City of Martinsburg Precincts. Come on up. How are you today?
I'm good. How are y'all today?
Pretty good.
Let me check my math here real quick. Okay. We recently put in the paper on the 23rd and the 30th. We put a Class 2 legal ad showing that there was going to be early voting locations. So with that in the paper, that means that on the 30th, I guess I need to request another appearance so that we can have that approved or at least put it before the commission. But we do have a map, and that was supposed to be a part of their.
That's it. Your first thing is the precinct, Martinsburg precinct changes.
Right,
And then
and
that's
so-
coming,
right.
early voting's on here after
Yep.
that.
Yep, the map is part of what you all should have received. 90% of the voters that we have, about 15,000 that have changed, are still in their same polling location. We were able to maintain that. A few of them inside the city will have to change, but other than that, everything else should be pretty accurate. But with that, we are asking that the precinct be approved as the map shows.
Tom, have you been able to reach out to the city recorder and get their kind of buy-in or participation in those precincts?
Yeah, Gina, we spoke with her and we've been back and forth with her, working very closely between her and the lawyer as well to make sure that they were copacetic with it. Everything is good.
Good. And the only reason I ask that is I know that there was a lack of communication.
That was
prior.
rectified immediately after the election.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Just a little bit of background on this request. So if you remember when you went through redistricting the first time, the city wasn't prepared to do their ward work. So you adopted the redistricting and the drawing of the precincts to deal with all the efforts. Post the back process, the city from then to now has went through and redrawn their ward lines. Well, there's lots of stipulations in there where precincts can't cross wards. They can, as you well know, there are now Senate districts that run through the city limits and so on and so forth. So this effort is truly based on the city having gone through their process and redrawn their wards. Then they went to the county clerk's office and said, hey, we've redrawn our wards. That way we work together and redraw the precinct lines so we don't have any crossovers. That's what the county clerk and his staff have done. What they're presenting to you today is the next step post the city going through their ward redraw.
All
And
right.
Gary, as far as the rest of the county, that's done every year, every 10 years after the census.
It's done
So
after the
this
census.
will be locked in,
This is,
the rest of the county's locked in until,
you're mandated to go through redistricting every 10 years with the census to align with the rules and regulations of what the voting laws are. You can make changes with precincts throughout that, but you typically do not. And this doesn't change any magisterial lines or anything. This is just literally precincts.
All righty.
And it does stay at 80 precincts.
80?
Yeah, we're still at 80.
Okay.
Because you only have enough machines to support 80 precincts.
Okay. Anthony?
And we've not run the last two notices.
For the early voting,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's the one that went through on the 23rd and the 3rd. So with the 30 days that we talked about, there may be a meeting. Is there a meeting November 30th? Thursday? Do you have one after?
yes. So we're just closed the week before on Thanksgiving.
and that will be 30 days after, so we can
Adopt it
work on
then.
that day.
Okay. Any other discussion or comments?
Yes, I'll just sit down with Tom about publication things and then you can add, because then the early voting issue, we'll have to come back and actually approve them after 30 days, after the notice. And then in 80 and 50 days, work has to begin, notice in the paper. A lot of notification on this paper. But with the precinct changes, is what I was asking. Was there has there been an ad yet? The process for that under code 317 would be after publishing, and you officially make 30 days after. It has to be within before 90 days. It can't be within 90 days of the election, and then after all of the individuals affected must have had it by mail. So there's a lot of work to be done by his office. First, the notice in the paper, then you take the action, and then every individual who's precinct.
New card.
So there is no need for a motion.
No, we need to go ahead with publishing this. Also, 30 days for the publication on other issues, bring it back up. Commission take action.
For the 3 early voting locations. Okay.
But the precinct changes is all within the city of Martinsburg, correct?
Not all of them. There's
There's some in the county as
There's
well.
some in the county to make up for the changes that had to happen in the city.
Okay.
All right. And Tom, that third site also includes the Dunn building, correct?
Yes.
but that one was already,
Has already been approved in the past, so that wasn't forward. All of these notifications is for the satellite.
those two are for the,
two satellites. Every county has to have it at their courthouse or courthouse.
Okay. So it doesn't require any motion from us at this time?
Not this time.
Okay. Just a consensus of saying okay.
Yeah,
So
and,
then, thank you, guys.
well, and,
Any other
and for the convenience of the public, you know, I'd like to recognize Clerk Petrucci and thank him and you for getting out in front of this and making sure that all the procedural guidelines set forth by the state are followed,
Right.
so that we can have these sites and get them up and running for the public's convenience.
And we do have the people ready, the information, as soon as everything's done, we have the stuff ready to go out to all the voters. So we'll have that taken care of on this.
Very good.
Very good.
Thank
All
you.
right,
Thank you, sir.
We need it.
All right. Let's see, John's not, oh, there's John. All right. Mr. John, good to see you. Come on up. You're here for a board and commission interview. It's good to, so you're here for a commission interview, and well, good to have you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
spending
some time with you.
Yes, indeed. Tell us something that we don't know.
Well, that might be kind of tough since I've known a lot of you all for a long time. I would like to touch on the work that I'm doing now
Sure.
with the military. So when I left my role as the executive director of the Jefferson County Development Authority back in 2017, I took a job with a friend of mine who I met through the Leadership West Virginia class that I was in 2014. A brilliant guy, PhD from WVU, 10 years younger than me, and he wanted to bring me on to this venture that he had. So we were a startup. We bootstrapped it. I was the first employee in after him, and here 7 years later, we're doing very, very well. We've got 63 employees. I've served as the chief operating officer, do some program management, some government relations, some HR and other administrative work for the company. So really excited about what we're doing there. And that might be one of the few things that maybe some of you aren't aware of what I'm doing now. But I'd really like to get back into, now that we've gotten this company stood up and I'm not running back and forth to Morgantown as much as I was, I'd like to, get back into doing some things for the community. That kind of took me away from all those things. I was raising kids. Two of them are in Morgantown now. One's going to be, Aaron and I'll be empty nesters here.
That job doesn't stop.
That doesn't stop. You're right, Steve.
I'll assure you.
It doesn't, but I will have a little more free time on my hands as far as how much time I spend hanging on the fence at the ball field or sitting in the stands at the
Well, I get to hang on the fence for a little different purpose now. My grandson.
Your grandson.
And granddaughter. So
Yeah, right.
it's and believe it or not, it is very, very enjoyable.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it. I was never much into sports, growing up with, my dad said, well, if you got time to do that, you got time to work. So, but other than that was, it's really enjoyable to watch them. That's for sure. I'm sorry. I didn't mean
No,
to-
that's always good to hear. I'm, at some point, Aaron and I hopefully will get to experience that as well. No, I'm ready to, get back into doing some public service. I was on the Berkeley County Development Authority for 11 years back in the day, and actually resigned from there to take the job in Jefferson County doing economic development. And I think my skill set, my experience is very germane to what the Development Authority does, and I think I've got a lot that I can bring to the table. I know how the board works. I know what the role of the staff is, having been staff, having to work with a 19 member board over in Jefferson County, and I think with my finance background, the work that I do on the West Virginia State Infrastructure Jobs and Development Council, I think is a very good bit of expertise that I've learned about how those funding agencies work. How do we get more infrastructure into Berkeley County? A lot of the folks that are on that are high-level folks in the funding agencies, so I work with them on a regular basis. It's sometimes hard to make them understand that our needs are a little different than a lot of the rest of the state. I think I'm starting to finally
wear some of them down, but, that is a great opportunity, I think, for us to continue working on infrastructure needs here in the county. We know we've got a lot of water infrastructure needs. I've met with Jim Willett, and we've been successful in working with folks to get more water infrastructure here. We obviously need more road work and that type of thing. I'm also interested in how we go about improving the education system here. As we all know, companies that want to move to a specific location, that's one of the first things they ask about. They want to know for their employees, and they also want to know for the employees that they have where their kids are going to be going to school. So there's a lot there, and I've got a lot of experience in economic development. I've got a lot of connections at the federal, state, and local level that I think I can bring those relationships to bear to help out the development and growth here in the county.
Mr. Barnhart, any questions?
Well, damn it, you answered all my questions.
Well, you just wind me up and off we go.
Still got goats.
I remember the goats for sure. And I remember working with your wife over in Jefferson County and the great work that she did at Kent Cartridge.
Yeah. And it's, it's
Well,
all good.
Linda still has one old goat. She can't get rid of it.
Yeah. They're getting down, but I'm still hanging
But you
in
know
there.
what the definition of goat is, don't you?
Greatest of all time.
There you go.
Yeah.
How about that?
Well, Jim had invited my family over to
Yeah.
see the goats when they were first born, and this is when the kids were little.
Yeah.
And they had a great time. We spent a couple hours out there hanging out with the goats. Jim and the
I
family.
took my grandkids there too.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we got the family farm going on.
Yeah, we got 4. They're slowly whittling down. I appreciate you wanting to get back into the scheme of things, because I've missed you.
Well, I
Since
appreciate that.
You've gone on to bigger and better things, and I'm glad to see you're still interested in Berkeley County. That makes me feel good. So I appreciate that.
Thank you, Jim.
Is there a vacancy on the development authority?
Actually, we do have one vacancy, and but by our Constitution bylaws, it's for industry.
Yeah, I was wondering
But
what
we've
you
got-
offer. I mean, you offer a good bit, but how that fits in with industry or medical or
I would argue that the Department of Defense is probably one of the biggest industries in the entire world, and we have tens of millions of dollars of contracts with the Army Research Lab. We've been trying to get in with the one. There's work that we can do with the 167th. We do a lot of work with the Army National Guard, and I've been tasked with trying to work with the folks at the 167th as well as the unit down in Charleston. So I mean, it's government, but it's certainly big business, big industry, and we're a company that is in that space. So as far as the bylaws, I mean, I'll leave that to you. I think it's a pretty easy fit, but that's up to you all, obviously.
Steve.
I've known John his whole life, and the Rasenweber family were all the great swimmers of Berkeley County at Lambert Pool over the years. Like the thousands of other young people, John's first real job was working at Parks and Rec at the pool as a lifeguard and manager and what have you. So, and then of course I worked with John when he was working for Shelley Moore Capito, obviously, and our communication with Shelley and all the contacts there. So, but I've known John forever. I think he'd be a great fit for the Development Authority, and I'm hoping at some point there'll be an opening to get him on there. I think he would serve us very well in that capacity. So, appreciate the fact that you are interested in doing that, John. I know you got a lot on your plate, but we appreciate it, and I think you'd be a great fit for us. Thank you.
I appreciate giving me my first job, my first real job.
Eddie.
Yeah, actually, I knew your mom before I knew you, John. I used to take her a lot of sick and broken up people, into the ER. Just wonderful family. Every time I met you, it's always a good experience. Obviously you've got a tremendous background and a lot of connections, especially with the IJDC, which already helped this county already. So I look forward to be able to work with you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
John, our days go back to the ambulance authority when it first started.
That they do, and that was my first board appointment from Jim Smith.
Mine was from John Wright.
Yeah.
He,
Man, you go way back.
yeah, it came. Sherry and I, believe it or not, our anniversary was Tuesday, 25 years. So 25 years ago, when I got put on the ambulance authority, the first night, Sherry and I hadn't been married a month and a half, maybe 2 months. She says, well, what's this do? And I said, well, usually go have a meeting. And I said, we discuss, things of the ambulance authority. And I said, after that, I said, probably a couple hours, I'll be home. Okay. I got home 1:30 in the morning. And all I got from Sherry was, and that was it, just a look, like a couple hours. I was gone for 6 hours that first meeting.
There were some long meetings for sure, Jamie.
But look, we've come a long way,
Yeah.
and from a lot of opposition of a paid service to what it has grown to today, and the necessity that it provides. So
Absolutely. I was honored to work on that, and I think you remember we actually got the fee increased, which was always kind of a little tough to do.
Still is.
Right.
It still is.
John Wright was very helpful in getting that done.
Mhm.
In fact, my recollection is we asked for a $5 increase, and they gave us 10.
Mm-hmm.
We should ask for 10. Maybe they didn't give us 20.
Wow.
But those were good days, and back to your point about industry, the slot for industry. I'm not going anywhere. I mean, so if that slot needs to be held for someone else, I would welcome an opportunity in the future. If one comes up that felt like I was a good fit for, I'd be happy to. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going anywhere, and this itch isn't going to go away. I'd love to serve in that capacity when the time's right.
We're always looking for good volunteers. You know what?
Appreciate that.
Usually when I go home, I'm voluntold. So.
There's always a little bit of that, right?
Yeah, that's good
Yeah,
though.
that's it.
Wouldn't change any of it.
That's right.
John, thanks for coming in.
Okay.
And,
Thank you, John.
If we,
Thank you, John.
Thank you all. I appreciate it.
see you later.
All right, take care.
Alrighty. Let's see. Fiscal year 24-25 budget timeline.
Already?
It is that time of the year.
We just did the budget.
Yeah, well, we're getting prepared to have that much fun again. In typical fashion, it's that time to get all of these milestones on the calendar so you can all plan ahead. We can meet the statutory guidelines to convene for board review, convene them for setting levy rates, so on and so forth. So I'll just kind of walk you through it from starting in about 2 weeks. So if the commission agrees, what we'll do by the 15th of November, we will get the budget packets assembled and delivered to both the internal departments and the outside agencies. Then we'll have a law to January the 11th and 12th. The budget hearings will begin on the 11th, and depending on what they are, the due outside agency will be due on the 12th. The internal budgets will be due by the 19th of January. On the 25th, I'll present you with the current status of the calendar year, the fiscal year, with revenues and expenditures, and then give options on what it's going to look like forecasted for next year. The end of January, we'll begin, and so the first Thursday in February, February the 1st, February the 6th, February the 8th, 13th, 15th, and 20th, you'll convene as Board Review and Equalization. Got marked off the 22nd and 27th if necessary. We'll go into, where's the adoption? I'm just tracking that down. The 7th of March, we'll meet with the constitutionally elected officials and department heads. If everything goes well, then on the 14th, you'll adopt the budget. It's due to be delivered to the state by the 30th. Then we have some publications to do in March and April, and then on April the 16th, you'll lay the levy rate. So starting in about 2 weeks and ending mid-April. Jim, you'll blink your eyes and we'll be doing it again
Yeah.
next fall, and then you won't even be around after that.
Yeah. Lucky you all.
Right? Well, not you, Mr. Barnard.
Oh,
You'll be
this
here
Jim.
anyway.
Yeah, I'll be gone.
Yeah. He's decided to have too much fun. He doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
How many
if-
years?
Most of those dates.
Well,
are
here it'd be
mandatory.
12.
12, yeah.
The others aren't. They kind of fall in line with what you've been doing the last several years. You give everybody plenty of opportunity to get ready, and then give yourselves plenty of opportunity to meet, discuss, digest, and make decisions. So you get it all laid out like this, and I think you've been very successful the last, since I've been around 15
Hey,
years.
last year was a piece of cake. It was unbelievable how we zipped through that last year.
Well, there was, the demand was proportionate to what you had. That makes it pretty easy.
Yeah.
It's when the demand exceeds what you have that it gets tricky. So you probably are going to see your revenues increase probably about the same amount you saw last year. Assessments are going up. The building economy as it is pretty stable. We're trending with projected revenues currently as expected with, I just signed the better part of 110 new addresses yesterday. Day before yesterday.
Well, the water district does 1,000 meters a year.
And you did 1,864 addresses last year. So if you don't have any concerns or problems, sir.
I just have a question. There's no Tuesday meetings in January at all, is that correct?
That's correct. The board review starts in February.
And what we did last year, my first experience, when we had the board reviews, then we also brought the outside agencies in to discuss their budget.
Sure.
And we did that on Thursday evenings, correct?
Thursday afternoons and Tuesday afternoons, when you convene, correct.
I didn't know if there's a way. My only thing is when we try to get to Charleston, it's hard to get there when we're meeting 2 days a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays to go down and lobby and stuff. And I don't know if
You don't have much of a choice with board review. You can only recess for.
you have to
You
space
have
it.
to. It has to be, the code's right here. So you can recess no less than 3 days at a time, not including Saturday, Sunday, or labor holidays, till it ends. So until you go sign and die. So
We need to kind of stay.
right. So what you can do is divide and conquer as follows. There's a quorum. If you want the presence in Charleston, you don't necessarily need all 5 of you here for those. It is just discussion. You aren't making decisions. So you can still accomplish, but to meet the rules and regulations of board review and equalization, you have to. Yeah, once you start on Thursday the 1st, it's really carved in stone. You have to meet.
I'd say that dealing with the legislature, we need to be as strategic as we can, time-wise, to be able to get there at the right time, to have the right discussion before it's voted on. So I'm almost going to have to play it by ear and make
Which is usually in February, is my point.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure when the Commission Association is going to be there. Hopefully it'll be in January. But like you said, it's not, the Tuesday's not a decision-making type of meeting.
So if the commission sees fit, if we could adopt this timeline and Penny will build the calendars out, we'll be ready to go.
That'll work. That's okay with everybody else.
Sure.
All right. Okay, Penny.
Take a motion.
Yep. Motion to build the budget timeline.
So move.
Motion to have a second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Like sign opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, bid recommendation, fleet financing. What do we got?
So if you'll recall, the 11th of October, you opened bids for financing options, and you had 5 responses. How you've done this in the past is you've actually taken the total amount you anticipated borrowing over 5 years, and you open a line of credit for that amount, and then you borrow it as you need it annually. And as you well know, the last order, large order for cars, you ordered in August of 2022. Right?
Oh,
That's correct. That's correct. We still don't have them. So we know they're coming. So we can't ask for it until we're going to get it. So you've already prepared a resolution and signed to let us reimburse ourselves. We bought 4 police interceptor trucks here a while back. So the first borrow of money, if we go through this, will be when we're going to take delivery of the 8 interceptors that are on order that were supposed to hit the assembly line in October, but with the strike, my guess is they haven't. And then you'll reimburse yourself for the 4 trucks. So your first borrow is probably going to be $700,000, give or take. But what you have done historically is you staged those over 5 years. Some years where you borrowed none. Matter of fact, we pay off your first one, goes away next month, I believe. We pay another one off in February, which will leave you only with 1 open borrow from the last 5-year term that you took. Of these 5, the lowest one, bank funding, the 4.76, that was the 3.75 upfront over 5 years. We aren't in a position to service the debt on that amount of money out of the gate. So even though it's the best rate, the reason it is the best rate is because they were offering you to borrow $3.7 million upfront and then distribute it as you. It's not what you're after. So that leads you to the next 2, which are First American and United. Both very close. The First American is actually 5.067, which rounded it to 5.07. So United and First American are almost the same. Their calculation of how their rates, one's based on LIBOR, or not LIBOR, one's based on Treasury plus, and the other one was based on the replacing calculation for LIBOR, I forget what it's called. But either way, it's pretty much a toss-up. You've done your last line of credit is with United. You bank with United. Very easy for us to interface with. There's great relationships, both local service and executive level. I did share the results of these with Cam Seacrest with Bolson Rice. We kind of looked at them together, and both came to the same conclusion that it could be either United's local, they got a local presence, First American not so much, I want to hold it against them, but we know where we've been, we know what they've done, and their proposals are almost exactly identical. So we're recommending, if the commission sees fit, to accept the proposal from United Bank. I don't know that our first execution will be at 5.06. Again, until we know when those ones are coming from Ford, we won't initiate. So it'll be based on the 5-year Treasury plus 1.95% at that time. So
That's cheaper.
that's the one that they offer that rate if we take 3.75 million upfront, and then we pay 50,000 and change per month for 5 years. That's not what we want. We may not ever spend 3.75. You remember when we did this the first time, it was a $5 million line of credit. We never ever borrowed $5 million. I think the most we had rolling at one time was just under 4, so we never got to 5. There's no reason to borrow money, pay interest on it. You don't need it, right? That's the beauty to the relationship when you go at it when you need it.
okay. So looks like you
stay local this month.
United Bank. All righty. Do I have a motion to accept United Bank's
So moved.
bid proposal?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries.
Now let's do something exciting.
Okay.
Because I'm a geek, as you all know. So
I'm a band geek. Go ahead.
I was that also. The county commission, almost 2 years ago now, went out to bid for a partner to expand broadband in a selected and defined area in the county. That area was chosen to be west of North Mountain. And if you remember, the logic that we talked about was based on how many passes, meaning under or underserved homes. And when we looked at it, we entertained and spoke to the state about, could we apply holistically for Berkeley County? They didn't say no, but they said the chances of that award, they really want projects. They really want you to speak to an area. So we looked at what the return on the investment was, meaning how many people, how many homes could be served. West made the most sense. We got more passes, more addresses, more houses west of the mountain, un and underserved, than there are east of the mountain. There are plenty of un and underserved people east, but west there were more. So went through this process. Commissioner Gokenheier was on the review committee, as well was Nick Deal from the Airport Authority, Region 9 with David Deemer. They helped us. So we went through this and we selected Frontier. The county commission approved that. We took the next step. The next step was make application to the state to get some of this millions of dollars of grant money that was laying there. That took 4, 5, or 6 months. Got the notice from the governor. If you remember, it was at one of your groundbreakings that it was casually mentioned that, hey, that award's been made. Berkeley County selected Frontier. The state's EDA awarded the contract to Frontier. Let's move ahead. Fast forward 3 more months. Here we are today. Jeff has reviewed it in legals. We have a contract in hand for you to sign that does a couple things. It begins the process and commits Berkeley County and Frontier to serving those areas west of North Mountain. It creates opportunity for $6,507,033 of MBPS grant money delivered to Frontier. It commits $1 million of Berkeley County money to the project, and then Frontier funds the rest, about $10 million. It's over an $18 million project that'll put fiber to the premise of the homes identified that are un and underserved west of North Mountain. A couple other really interesting things that it provides. There's a program, it's called ACP, Affordable Connectivity Plan. If people qualify, if a home qualifies, it's a $30 credit towards fiber, monthly internet service. Frontier has a $29.99 product that is about 100 times faster than what I have out in the country now. Well, I don't qualify, but if you do qualify, in theory, there are folks, if they meet these guidelines, that they can get broadband internet to their house, installed, monthly recurring, for free. It's an initiative. It's part of that billions of dollars of money that this thing funds. So think of the people, homes west of the mountain, that financially could never afford to have this level of broadband. The federal government has a program. It's embraced by Frontier. It's supported by the county commission. So not only are you going to deliver an opportunity, you're going to deliver the opportunity with the recurring costs to be free if they qualify. So it is a win-win for Berkeley County. So if the commission agrees and you do take the motion to give the president the ability to sign the contract, it'll go to Frontier, they'll sign it, and the effort is that the project is to be completed within 2 years. So I've lived out there for 15 years with no broadband, and within 2 years to think that I'm going to have
I've
fiber
lived
to
there
my
for
house.
40-some years without it. So.
Right. So it's a game changer.
I was reading some comments on social media that southeast Berkeley County, east of the mountain, off of like Gold Miller Road out in that area, suffers.
So there's the northeast.
Yeah.
You get out in the Scrabble area.
Well, we talked about Morgan Wireless. Is that an option still?
So it is my vision, and I would plan my next step. Once this is designed and executed and everybody's contractually committed, what I intend to do is come back to the commission, ask you if we can go back out to public recruitment, find another partner, whether it's Frontier or whomever, and identify east of North Mountain as the second project in Berkeley County, run them parallel, and have all of Berkeley County covered in, let's just say, 5 years, right? It's taken us almost 2 years to get to this point, start to finish. It's not fast.
Right.
But
Once you have it, it's
but
fast.
tax money at $1 million, local tax dollars at $1 million, 6.5 million in grant money, and then 10 million committed by the partner.
Right.
I mean, everybody wins in that scenario. So hopefully we can do it again and be that successful. You've heard since this grant money this was about $30 million. They're billions of dollars now. So we don't even know how to get
We're
at it.
committing about 4%.
Correct. So if the commission agrees, and to address that, Mr. Whitaker, what we would do, as soon as this is done, I'll be right back saying, hey, would you like to try something on the other side?
This,
And we'll
yeah,
say,
north and
okay,
south.
here are the passes east of the mountain, and then we'll be able to say that the county commission has facilitated broadband growth in Berkeley County, fiber to the premise, and the end goal is in the next 4 to 5 years completed. And you want, if you think you've seen, there's a lot of growth, subdivision growth and things like that doesn't happen to the west because of this, right? Water, sewer, one thing, but professionals can't telework. They can't do their business without broadband. So this could open up a whole nother level of change. But it's in today's world, through COVID, the kids were they were teleeducating, if you will, remote educating, however it was a struggle. I mean, I had 2 in high school at that point, and it doesn't do very well on the internet in my house. So we were having to go to the library or whatever so they could get internet to do work. So it's a big deal. It really is.
It is in the school system component of that, Gary, is one of my highest interests was to be able to get the internet service in the valley for kids, because who knows when this could happen again and they have to learn from home. You know, I know the school system worked hard to be able to provide some of those services, putting hotspots on buses or bringing, some kids had to come to school, sit outside in the parking lot to be able to get internet service. So this will definitely work to their advantage. Also, I'm sure, because I felt the same way, was concerned about Frontier's service. You know, I mean, I have a lot of people that complained about their service. They assure us that those issues have been addressed. They've done a reorganization within Frontier, and so hopefully they'll be good to go.
They got their act together.
I hope so.
Because their phone service was at one time really a problem. Yeah.
And legal has reviewed this and it's all
You have
copacetic.
You have the thumbs up from your legal team. I think just one other point that I'd like to make is part of the application process, we had to provide community support, community engagement letters to the state. And from the hospital to the school board, to the airport authority, to anybody around Macy's, stuff like that, everybody signed letters and said, yes, it's a great thing for the county. So it's supported all the way around.
Okay.
It's just $1 million.
Being a resident of west of North Mountain, I would like to make that. Tell you, it's a hot topic, something that,
Well,
if I got into the commission,
Well, in
was
fact-
asked to try to help promote, to
Back-
get coverage back there.
Backyard Road in Northwood Ranch has been a terrible place.
And we can't even get it through the phone service there
Yeah.
because it's underground lines and they won't replace them. So we don't even have cable there.
Mhm.
You know, cable TV. That's hard to believe. I'm a stone's throw from Route 9 for crying out loud. But that's just the situation we're in. So, are you ready for a motion?
Yes, sir.
I would like to move that we enter into contract with Frontier and move forward with the broadband coverage in west of North Mountain.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
You need to give the president the authority to
Give
sign.
and in my motion, give the president of the commission authority to sign that contract
It's $1 million commitment over 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
for $1 million commitment from Berkeley County Commission.
When Gary said from my funds,
Yeah.
sorry, it ain't gonna happen, Steve. Just kidding. All right, have a motion and a second in discussion. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
All right. We are going to go into an executive session for legal matters, so no action to be taken coming out with there.
You want to,
No. I want to do items from the public.
yeah,
There's no public, so we are.
Take a motion in a second.
Yeah. Yep.
I moved to go in executive session for legal matters and real estate. Just legal
Just
matters.
legals. I have a motion to have a second.
So moved.
Got a second? Any further discussion? We are in executive session. All righty, we're back in session. No action is to be taken. Mr. Barnhart,
Well, thank you, Mr. President, and I would sincerely really like to recess.
we are in recess. Thank you.